At 29 years old, I'm Rachel Martinez, and one notification shattered my entire world. The glow of my tablet illuminated the devastating words from my parents. Your services are no longer required. Stay away from headquarters starting immediately. My fingers froze over the screen as shock turned to disbelief. I managed to type a brief response. Acknowledged. That single word masked the hurricane of emotions tearing through me. Fury, devastation, confusion. For nearly a decade, I had been the financial anchor of our family's technology enterprise in Denver, sacrificing personal dreams to strengthen our collective success. But in that instant, everything I believed about kinship, dedication, and honesty disintegrated. This wasn't simply a termination, it was exile. A public declaration that I no longer belonged. What transgression warranted such brutality? I had discovered something buried within the financial data I analyzed daily. Something that could unravel the commercial dynasty we'd constructed together. Rather than gratitude for my diligence, my family chose concealment over honesty. The weight of their rejection crushed me, yet I refused to surrender. A reckoning was approaching, one I couldn't yet envision. Stay with me to discover what fractured my family bonds, what secrets I exposed, and how that single word, acknowledged, became the catalyst for everything that followed. Have you experienced betrayal when standing up for principles within your own circle? Share below, and don't forget to engage with this content. Denver in the early 2010s was a hotbed of technological innovation, and my family capitalized on that momentum brilliantly. Throughout my childhood, I observed my parents dedicate themselves to Martinez Solutions, a technology firm that began in a converted basement workspace. They were pioneers, transforming programming expertise into a thriving enterprise that revolutionized operations for countless businesses. By my college years, Martinez Solutions had established itself as a major player in business management software, generating approximately $35 million annually and helping medium-sized companies optimize their workflows. This was our heritage, and pride in that legacy ran deep. I'm Rachel Martinez, and by age 26, I had risen to the position of Director of Financial Operations, maintaining fiscal discipline while supporting sustainable expansion. My older sibling, Sophia Martinez, controlled the sales division, her magnetic personality securing major contracts while concealing an insatiable appetite for dominance. My younger sibling, Nicole Martinez, oversaw personnel management, perpetually attempting to mediate our conflicts. Our parents, the company founders, had reduced their daily involvement but retained ultimate authority. They entrusted us to perpetuate their vision. However, that confidence came with fractures I overlooked until catastrophe struck. During childhood, we maintained close bonds, summers exploring the Rocky Mountains, winters competing over strategy games. But professional collaboration altered our dynamics fundamentally. Sophia became the favored child, her impressive client presentations earning our father's admiration. My contributions centered on financial accuracy, identifying errors that preserved millions in capital. Yet my achievements remained understated. Nicole, caught between us, attempted damage control, though her sympathies clearly leaned toward Sophia's charisma. The favoritism hurt, but I dismissed it, believing familial love transcended workplace rivalry. The initial warning emerged during an executive committee meeting 18 months prior. I recommended budget reductions for a speculative expansion Sophia championed aggressively. Her glare conveyed pure hostility, as though I'd committed treason. Father supported her proposal, praising her innovative thinking. I suppressed my frustration, but doubt took root. Sophia began excluding me from strategic discussions, appropriating credit for my financial frameworks. Rumors circulated that clients believed she engineered our profitability. I tolerated it, prioritizing family harmony over personal recognition. Nicole observed the mounting tension but remained neutral, advising me privately to accommodate Sophia's ego. You understand her temperament, Rachel. Maintain equilibrium, she'd whisper. I'd agree, though it felt more like capitulation. Our parents remained oblivious, basking in Sophia's achievements. Family gatherings became Sophia's stage, where she presented marketing campaigns while I reviewed spreadsheets silently. Once, I discovered her modifying my budget analyses before presenting them as her own work. When I challenged her privately, she dismissed it casually. "We're partners, correct?" Her smile never touched her eyes, and I felt the first chill of genuine concern. Everything shifted during a late evening at headquarters when I encountered a transaction that defied explanation. As Director of Financial Operations at Martinez Solutions, I dedicated countless nights scrutinizing financial documents, ensuring complete accountability. That particular evening, embedded within a quarterly analysis, I identified a disbursement of $55,000 to an entity named Western Strategies Group. It hadn't been budgeted, hadn't been approved through proper channels. My instincts immediately signaled danger. I examined the transaction specifics, anticipating vendor documentation or invoices, but found nothing, merely a cryptic reference to advisory services. The following morning, I contacted Marcus Chen, our chief accountant. "Marcus, explain this payment to Western Strategies Group," I inquired, maintaining professional composure. His hesitation spoke volumes before he claimed it was an isolated advisory fee authorized by Sophia. "Everything's legitimate, Rachel. No concerns necessary," he assured me, but his tone rang false. No contracts existed. No receipts. No documentation trail. My intuition screamed that Marcus was concealing something significant. I mentioned my concerns to Nicole over lunch. She'd always been the family mediator, quick to diffuse confrontations. "Rachel, it's likely just an administrative oversight," she suggested, barely touching her meal. "You know how our parents despise conflict? Let it go." Her words stung, but my unease intensified. Sophia's connection to that transaction couldn't be coincidental. She'd been pursuing aggressive deals recently, and I'd witnessed her charming clients into agreements that strained our financial capacity. That evening, I returned to the records, determined to find answers. By the early morning hours, I'd uncovered 3 additional payments to Western Strategies Group, each $55,000 distributed across 8 months. That totaled $220,000 unaccounted for. My pulse quickened as I cross-referenced vendor databases. Western Strategies Group didn't exist in our systems. No physical address, no contact information, nothing. This wasn't an error. It was intentional deception. Sophia's authorization appeared on every approval, her distinctive signature unmistakable. I sat back, the burden of suspicion settling heavily. My own sibling, whom I'd idolized growing up, was hiding something substantial. I didn't confront her immediately. More evidence was essential. Over the subsequent week, I worked late into the night, combing through financial records systematically. I discovered 4 additional transactions to Western Strategies Group, bringing the total to $1.1 million across 8 months. Each disbursement was concealed within different accounts, disguised as consulting fees or technology upgrades. Whoever orchestrated this scheme understood how to cover their tracks, but they underestimated my expertise. Numbers don't deceive, and I'd devoted years mastering their language. I began maintaining a confidential log, documenting every transaction, every date, every irregularity. I preserved screenshots, correspondence, anything that could substantiate what I was discovering. It felt like treachery even considering Sophia's involvement, but evidence continued accumulating. I approached Nicole again, hoping for support. "You're overreacting," she snapped, her voice sharp with irritation. "Sophia wouldn't harm the company. You're creating unnecessary stress for our parents." Her dismissal cut deeply but strengthened my determination. I was isolated in this investigation. Marcus called the next day, his tone noticeably colder. "Rachel, cease investigating Western Strategies Group. It's been handled," he stated flatly. His words confirmed my fears. Someone was actively suppressing this information. I no longer trusted Marcus. Sophia's involvement had progressed from theory to near certainty. The isolation was crushing. My family, the people I'd worked alongside for years, felt like strangers. I kept my documentation hidden, secured in password-protected files. Whatever was happening, I needed the complete truth, even if it meant opposing those I loved most. For 5 weeks, I worked until midnight, uncovering a truth that shattered my remaining illusions. The Western Strategies payments were merely the surface of something far more extensive. Sleep became impossible, my mind racing with questions about Sophia. Her signature on those transactions haunted me. I needed complete clarity, so I dove deeper into Martinez Solutions' financial records, committed to finding truth regardless of personal cost. By the 3rd week, I'd identified 3 additional phantom companies: Summit Advisory Partners, Riverside Technology Consultants, and Pacific Business Solutions. Each had received payments strategically distributed across various accounts, totaling $8.2 million over 3 years. These weren't random mistakes. They represented deliberate, systematic fraud, hidden within layers of mislabeled expenses like software licensing or vendor retainers. Sophia's authorization connected every transfer, her approvals buried in obscure documentation. I cross-referenced banking statements and found wire transfers to offshore accounts in jurisdictions I'd never encountered. My hands trembled as the picture crystallized. This was orchestrated theft. I needed external perspective from someone trustworthy. I reached out to Jennifer Park, my former professor from Colorado State University, who'd mentored me through my finance degree. Over a secure communication channel, I shared the details carefully, initially withholding Sophia's identity. Jennifer listened intently, then responded gravely. "Rachel, this indicates systematic financial fraud. You're observing a deliberate pattern. Someone's transferring funds intentionally with clear criminal intent." Her assessment hit like a physical blow. When I revealed Sophia's involvement, Jennifer's tone became even more serious. "Obtain irrefutable evidence and protect yourself legally. This situation will escalate dangerously." I began preserving everything on encrypted storage: banking records, authorization forms, even correspondence where Sophia vaguely referenced consulting projects. I worked covertly, using my personal equipment to avoid detection. Each night, I felt more like an investigator than a family member. The deeper I investigated, the heavier the truth became. Sophia wasn't merely careless. She was engineering something that could destroy Martinez Solutions entirely. Meanwhile, tension at home became suffocating. Nicole sensed something was wrong but maintained her distance. At a family dinner, I attempted to gauge her position. "Nicole, have you noticed any irregularities with the company's finances?" I asked casually. She frowned, glancing at Sophia across the table. "You're perpetually paranoid, Rachel," she said, her voice tense. "Perhaps you're inventing problems," Sophia smirked, interjecting. "Exactly, Rachel. Not everything's a conspiracy. Some of us focus on growing the company rather than sabotaging it." Her words cut deep, accusing me of disloyalty without explicit statement. I didn't respond, but Sophia's attack stung profoundly. Later, Nicole pulled me aside. "Rachel, stop creating problems," she pleaded. "You're stressing our parents unnecessarily." "Sophia says you're just jealous of her accomplishments." I stared at her, shocked. Sophia had manipulated her, spinning a narrative that portrayed me as the troublemaker. I tried explaining, but Nicole interrupted. "Just drop it, okay? We're family." Her loyalty to Sophia felt like personal betrayal, widening the chasm between us. The next day, Sophia cornered me at headquarters. "You've been asking excessive questions," she said, her voice low and threatening. "If you're not aligned with our vision, perhaps you don't belong at this company." It wasn't a question, it was a warning. I held her gaze, heart pounding, but remained silent. I couldn't reveal my hand prematurely. The meeting at my parents' residence was when I realized my family had abandoned me completely. I'd spent days preparing a comprehensive report, every page meticulously detailing the phantom companies and Sophia's authorizations. $8.2 million funneled through Western Strategies, Summit Advisory Partners, Riverside Technology Consultants, and Pacific Business Solutions, evidence too substantial to ignore. I entered that meeting with a folder containing truth, hoping to save Martinez Solutions. Instead, I left with nothing but devastation. I began by presenting the facts methodically. I've discovered payments to 4 shell companies totaling $8.2 million over 3 years, I stated. Distributing copies of my report to our parents, David and Linda Martinez, plus Sophia and Nicole. These companies don't exist. The funds have vanished, and Sophia authorized every transfer. My voice remained steady despite my racing heart. Sophia's eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a contemptuous smile. "This is absurd, Rachel," she snapped. "You're fabricating accusations to undermine me. You've always envied my position in the company." Her words twisted years of sibling rivalry into malicious fiction. Father leaned forward, his expression hardening. "Rachel, you're making serious accusations against your sister. Do you have actual proof, or is this speculation?" I indicated the documents, banking statements, wire transfer records, Sophia's signatures. "It's all documented here. I've verified everything." He flipped through pages, but his expression didn't soften. "Sophia's been driving this company's success. She secured our most significant clients. Why would she do this?" His defense of her felt like betrayal deeper than I'd anticipated. Mother remained silent, eyes fixed on the table. I'd hoped she'd at least question the evidence, but her silence communicated more than words. "Nicole, perhaps there's an explanation," my younger sister offered weakly, her voice wavering. "Sophia, can you address this?" Sophia seized the opportunity. "There's nothing to address. Rachel's exaggerating everything to appear important. She's never understood business management." Nicole hesitated, then nodded slightly, siding with Sophia. My heart sank. My sister, whom I'd counted on, was turning away. I pushed back, my voice rising. "Sophia, these transfers bear your authorization. $8.2 million doesn't vanish accidentally. Explain it." She leaned forward, eyes cold. "You're the one who needs explaining, Rachel. Investigating records, spying on me, that's not loyalty. That's sabotage." Her accusation reframed me as the traitor, Father interrupted. "Rachel, you're causing division. If you can't trust your sister, perhaps you're not right for Martinez Solutions." I froze. "Father, I'm trying to protect the company." "Someone must," he shook his head. "You need to reconsider your approach or you're finished here." Mother finally spoke, her voice barely audible. "Rachel, we can't tolerate this chaos." They'd chosen Sophia's side. Nicole looked at me with guilt but said nothing. Her failure to support me hurt worse than Sophia's attacks. The room felt claustrophobic. I gathered my report, hands trembling. "If you won't listen, I can't remain," I said. Father's voice was final. "Then you're done at Martinez Solutions. We'll handle this without you." The words landed like a physical blow. I looked at Sophia, her smirk now triumphant. Nicole reached for my arm, but I pulled away. "I'm sorry, Rachel," she mumbled, but it was meaningless. I walked out, the door slamming behind me. Driving away, I felt I'd lost my family forever. That evening, the message from my parents illuminated my phone, erasing every remaining hope. I was alone in my apartment, still processing the confrontation, when the text from Mother appeared. "Your services are no longer required. Stay away from headquarters starting immediately." I stared at those words, each one a fresh wound. I typed back, acknowledged, and set my phone down, chest tight with grief. The next day, I attempted calling Nicole, hoping for some support. My call went to voicemail. I texted Sophia, requesting a conversation. No response. Even Father, who'd always been my foundation, ignored my messages. My family had severed contact completely, as if I'd never existed in their world. The isolation was crushing, a weight I couldn't escape. Desperate for guidance, I reached out to Robert Sullivan, a former colleague who'd left Martinez Solutions years earlier after conflicts with Sophia. We met at a discreet cafe and I revealed everything: the shell companies, the $8.2 million, the confrontation. Robert listened, his expression grave. "Rachel, you're doing what's right, but you're confronting your own family. You need to protect yourself. Research whistleblower protections. There are legal safeguards to support you." His words provided clarity. I wasn't just fighting for myself, I was fighting for justice. That night, I researched intensively, reviewing IRS guidelines on financial misconduct. I learned about whistleblower protections under federal law, which could shield me if I reported the shell companies. The more I read, the clearer my path became. Sophia's actions weren't just unethical, they were criminal, and I couldn't allow them to continue. I spent days compiling evidence into a detailed report: banking records, wire transfers, Sophia's authorizations, all secured on my encrypted storage. Every document felt like betrayal, but remaining silent would betray my principles more fundamentally. I contacted the IRS anonymously, following their protocol for whistleblower submissions. I uploaded my report through a secure portal detailing the 4 shell companies and the $8.2 million funneled offshore. My heart pounded as I submitted it, knowing there was no reversal. I wasn't just exposing Sophia. I was risking everything: my career, my family, my identity. But I couldn't live with myself if I remained silent. Truth mattered more than personal pain. The following days blurred with isolation. My phone stayed silent. No calls from Nicole. No apologies from my parents. I avoided checking Martinez Solutions' social media, knowing Sophia was probably crafting her narrative. I felt like a ghost, erased from the life I'd built with my family. At night, I'd lie awake, torn between guilt and conviction. Had I made the right choice, or had I destroyed everything? Robert's words echoed. "Hold on to your integrity, Rachel. It's all you have left." I kept my decision confidential, even from Robert. The burden was mine alone. I'd grown up believing family was everything, but now I understood the cost of that belief. Sophia's ambition had fractured us, and my parents' refusal to acknowledge truth had sealed the break. Yet despite the pain, I stood by my choice. Reporting the misconduct wasn't just about justice. It was about proving I could stand for something greater than family loyalty. I was alone, but I was right. 5 days later, my entire family appeared at my door in panic. I was in my apartment, still grappling with silence, when the doorbell rang. Father stood there clutching a folder, his face ashen. Mother hovered behind him, hands trembling. Nicole looked as though she'd been crying for days. With them stood Gregory Morrison, our family's longtime attorney. Their desperation filled the room before anyone spoke. Gregory took the lead, his voice grim. Sophia's disappeared. She transferred $9.5 million from Martinez Solutions to an offshore account and fled to a country with no extradition treaty. My heart sank, though part of me wasn't surprised. My older sister had taken her betrayal to the ultimate extreme. Gregory explained that after my forced departure, Sophia had shown my parents fabricated documents claiming I'd mismanaged funds. Those lies fueled their distrust, leading to the message that severed our relationship. Now, with Sophia vanished and the company's accounts gutted, the truth was undeniable. Father's voice shook. "Rachel, we're in serious trouble. The IRS is auditing us. We could lose the company, our home, everything." Nicole's eyes pleaded with me. "You understand the finances, Rachel. Please help us fix this." Mother's voice was barely a whisper. "We need you, Rachel." Their words stirred a storm inside me. Anger, not sympathy. They'd believed Sophia's fabrications, expelled me, and now expected me to rescue them. Gregory handed me a file, his expression somber. Sophia's final transfer was $9.5 million to an account in the Caymans through a shell company called Global Horizon Ventures. Her forged documents blamed you for financial errors, convincing your parents you were at fault. He shook his head. She manipulated everyone, but you saw through it. The evidence was damning. Fake reports bearing my name, crafted to make Sophia's transfers appear legitimate. It explained why my family turned against me, but it didn't erase the pain. I looked at them, their fear almost tangible. Father leaned closer. "Rachel, speak to the IRS. Tell them it wasn't us." "You're our only hope," Nicole nodded, tears streaming. "We're family, Rachel. Please." Mother reached for my hand, her voice breaking. We were wrong to doubt you. But their apologies felt hollow, like bandages on wounds they'd helped inflict. They'd chosen Sophia over me, and now they faced the consequences of that choice. I stepped back, my voice cold but steady. You trusted Sophia's lies and expelled me. I warned you, and you didn't listen. You don't get to request my help now, Nicole sobbed, clutching Mother's arm. Rachel, we're begging you. Don't let Martinez Solutions collapse. Father's face hardened. You'd abandon us after everything we've built together? I held his gaze. You abandoned me first. Sophia's actions are on you for believing her. Mother's head bowed, silent, unable to argue. I turned away from their pleas and called Detective Sarah Chen, the IRS agent overseeing the case. Over a secure line, I shared new details, dates of Sophia's latest transfer, correspondence tying her to Global Horizon Ventures, and copies of her forged documents. Sarah's tone was professional but urgent. This is critical, Rachel. It'll accelerate our investigation, though her location complicates matters. I wasn't focused on capturing Sophia anymore. I wanted accountability. My evidence would ensure the IRS pressed forward regardless of where she hid. As my family left, their footsteps heavy with defeat, I felt a mixture of resolve and grief. Father's pleas, Mother's silence, Nicole's tears, they were genuine, but so was their betrayal. They'd built Martinez Solutions with me, only to let Sophia tear it apart. I'd given the IRS everything they needed, and now it was their move. My fight wasn't about saving my family. It was about making them face the consequences of their choices. More importantly, it was about holding them accountable for what they'd done. 8 months later, I stood at the edge of a new beginning, never looking back. The collapse of Martinez Solutions was complete. Its name now synonymous with scandal in Denver. My parents, David and Linda Martinez, faced a crushing penalty from the IRS, $12 million for financial misconduct tied to Sophia's shell companies. The fine drained their savings, and with major clients abandoning the company, Martinez Solutions filed for bankruptcy. The empire my family built over decades was gone, reduced to a cautionary tale. Sophia, my older sister, was now an international fugitive. The IRS, with my evidence, issued a warrant for her arrest, but she remained untouchable in a country with no extradition treaty. Reports surfaced of her living in isolation, cut off from the life she'd known in America. Her ambition had cost her everything: her family, her reputation, her freedom. I felt no satisfaction, only a hollow ache for the sister I'd once admired. Now a stranger lost to her own choices. Nicole tried reaching out. Her texts were tentative, filled with apologies and pleas to meet. Rachel, I was wrong, one message read. Can we talk? You're still my sister. But each word felt like too little. Too late. She'd stood by while Sophia's lies tore us apart, and her silence during our parents' betrayal stung deeply. I deleted her messages, choosing silence over reconciliation. Severing ties with my family was painful, but it was the only way to protect myself from further harm. I'd moved on, building a new life far from the wreckage of Martinez Solutions. I accepted a position with a consulting firm specializing in corporate ethics, advising companies on transparency and accountability. The work felt meaningful, a stark contrast to the secrecy that destroyed my family's company. I rented a modest apartment in a new city, surrounded by colleagues who valued my expertise, not my family name. Each day, I rebuilt my confidence, proving I could stand independently without the burden of family expectations. The IRS investigation, fueled by my reports, closed with undeniable results. Detective Chen confirmed that my evidence, banking records, forged documents, and transfer logs, had exposed the full scope of Sophia's actions. The $12 million fine was only part of the consequences. My parents faced years of legal battles to untangle their liability. I didn't gloat or dwell on their downfall. My role concluded when I chose truth over loyalty, and I carried no regrets for that decision. The hardest part wasn't losing Martinez Solutions or even my family. It was accepting that loyalty could blind you to betrayal. Growing up, I believed family came first, no matter what. But Sophia's greed, my parents' denial, and Nicole's hesitation showed me the cost of that belief. I learned that responsibility to yourself and your principles matters more than clinging to a family that doesn't recognize your worth. Standing up for what's right meant walking away, even when it broke my heart. This journey taught me a lesson I'll carry forever. Blind loyalty to family can destroy you, but standing for truth builds a stronger foundation. To anyone listening, I say this: trust your instincts when something feels wrong, even if it's family. Speak up, hold people accountable, and don't let love excuse betrayal. My family's collapse wasn't just their failure. It was a chance for me to redefine what matters. I chose integrity over allegiance, and that choice gave me a life I'm proud to live. You can do the same. Thank you for hearing my story. Please share your thoughts and subscribe for more stories of resilience and standing up for what's right.